Welcome back to Proxy, everybody, and today we have a very special video for you guys. This is the reveal of the FAQ and errata for the Aeldari Codex. So, GW has put this download up on Warhammer Community. You can check out the download yourself, but I thought I would give you my general thoughts and opinions on it. In general, I think they did a great job with this. They just clarified a couple things that we kind of already knew you could do, but they made it so that, they actually worked in a functional way. So let us go ahead and dive right into it, and I'll tell you my thoughts, and then we'll look at some of the points changes and stuff. We kind of already saw most of that stuff, but there are a few differences from what the leak stated for the points and so forth. So, we are going to take a look at it. But let's go ahead and dive right in. So, the first thing is the Skyborn Sanctuary stratagem that is in Warhost and Aspect Host. So, they basically changed this to make sure that you could not be within engagement range of one or more enemy units to be able to use it. So, if you, for example, get out of your transport, charge in, and you're still within engagement range at the end of the fight phase, then you can no longer get back in the transport. So that makes sense. That's in line with the rest of these types of abilities from things like Venoms and things like Starweavers. So it made sense that they would make this stratagem basically prevent you from being in combat and then being able to just go out of combat, because that just kind of breaks a lot of the things in the game as far as, the sequencing and stuff of abilities and core rules. So, it's something that needed to happen. Now, the next thing is the Farseer, which can now join the Warlock Conclave by himself, which is awesome. That means the Farseer can, of course, be in a Warlock Conclave. He can be in a Guardian Defender unit or a Storm Guardian unit. He is not, not going to be able to join those specific units, which we all thought. Right? We always knew that he was supposed to be in Warlock Conclaves as well. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with the Guardian Deathstar, though. So, I will say this. Some people were misinformed that the Guardian Deathstar was destroyed. It is not destroyed. It is better and stronger than ever. So, yeah. So, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, Baharoth, we already knew that his ability was going to be changed to you can't deep strike within 3, it's going to be within 6. They've changed every single ability like that in the game so far. And it is in your movement phase, right? They make that clear because there's some abilities that allow you to, come in and out of the battlefield and stuff like that. So they wanted to, just make it very clear it's in your movement phase, not the movement phase. And what that means is rapid ingress. You cannot use this with rapid ingress. So I think that's also fair. If they did it to the Tempestus, Achillans, why wouldn't they do it to Baharoth and his Hawks, right? I think that would be a little bit unfair. Okay, next is the Warlock Conclave. So a lot of people were kind of confused about this and how the Deathstar worked and stuff, and, they were adamant that this did not work. So GW says, delete the character keyword from the Warlock Conclave. They are no longer characters. And change the leader section to this. At the start of the declare formation step, if this unit is not an attached unit, which means, guys, an attached unit is a unit that has already been attached to by a character. So, for example, if a Farseer attaches to a Warlock Conclave first, then you can't then join both together in a Guardian Defender squad or Storm squad. You have to deploy them separately. Now, the Farseer already has an ability so that he can join another unit even if a Warlock Conclave is there. So there is that ability still there, right? So you join this unit to a Guardian Defender or Storm Guardian. If it does, oh, and by the way, obviously, people are also saying you could join multiple Warlock Conclaves to a, Guardian Defender squad. Everybody knew this wasn't the case, but technically speaking, you could. So Warlock Conclave, Can only be one of them in a unit, but if it does attach until the end of the battle, every model in this unit counts as being part of that bodyguard unit, and that bodyguard's unit starting strength is increased accordingly. Which means, guys, a 4-man conclave with guardians with a support weapon is going to be above 20 unit strength, which means it does count as a target for Call the Horde. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this because they changed the leader section to something completely different. This is not this is an attached unit that counts as part of the bodyguard unit, and the starting strength is increased accordingly as, per the core rules. So, again, I believe that this works. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, please do. I believe Call the Horde says that attached characters or, characters attached with the leader ability are, not counted as part of this. And I don't think these guys count as part of this anymore because of the way this is worded. But, again, please let me know in the comment section. I'd like to know for sure. But I believe they don't. I think the single warlock and the warlock, or excuse me, the Farseer, both are, under that jurisdiction, but I don't believe the Warlock Conclave is. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this part right here, which is Warlock Skyrunners. Same kind of thing here. Delete the character keyword from the section at the start of the Declare Formations battle step if unit is not an attached unit, so basically not attached by a Farseer. This unit can join one Wind Riders unit from your army, and you can't have more than one Warlock Skyrunners unit joined to it, so that's only 2 max. If it does until the end of the battle, every model in this unit counts as being part of that bodyguard unit, and the bodyguard's unit strength is increased accordingly. So again, same thing here, except that I don't think you're going to be able to get to enough starting strength to account for Call the Horde, but it's the same concept. Now, what's really cool is they did also change Runes of Battle. So Runes of Battle from the Warlock Skyrunner is going to be now weapons equipped by models in this unit have the Ignores cover ability. This is a direct buff to solo Warlock Skyrunners who are able to now benefit from their own Ignores cover ability, right? They no longer have to be in a unit to get the benefit. So essentially what basically was happening before is unless they were attached to something, they did not get Ignores cover, but now they do, right? They just have it base, which is cool, right? That's what they should have had to begin with. That's how it was in the index. This is how it's going to be now. So that's cool. A lot of people are going to run single Skyrunners and Ignores cover on these guys. Hey, why not? Okay, there is a section on the Ynnari Venom that basically says you can't split a unit that has already been split. That was, again, pretty obvious to me, but apparently to some people it was like, oh no, you can split it as many times as you want, which, is weird because the Dark Eldar one doesn't say you can. You can only split once, right? So they changed that. You can't split a unit multiple times. And that's it, guys. That's the errata. So there's not much to it, but it did clarify a couple things. And yes, you can indeed attach a Farseer to a Guardian squad in addition to a Warlock Conclave, right? Because, again, it's not a character, so you can include it, right? You can include a Warlock Conclave into a Guardian unit, and then the Farseer can also attach to a Guardian unit as per his own rules. Same thing with Eldrad, probably. All right, so that's going to cover the FAQ and the errata. Let's look at the points changes. Okay, so we knew some of these. We knew Azurman was going to go up 15 points. We knew the Avatar of Cain was going to go down 20. Baharoth went down 10 to 115. Corsair Void Reavers went down 10 points per 5. Corsair Voidsguard went down 10 points as well. We didn't quite know this, but they did go down a little bit. So they're 80 points and 160 points respectively. Does that make them any good? Well, they weren't good in the index. They don't have any of the abilities that, they did in the... They don't have the rerolls that they did in the index. I personally don't think they're that great. But they're a decent choice in Yunari because they are a combat unit in a lot of ways. So, Corsair Void Reavers, I think, are way better in Yunari than, other things. But they do have Scout, right? I mean, they're 15 points cheaper than Striking Scorpion. So if you wanted to just go for the cheapest possible unit that you could, that was also a combat unit, I guess Corsairs are it, right? So both of those units are there. They went down. D cannon went up to 125. We knew that. Again, I'm not impressed by the D cannon. I think without rerolls and auto hits and all the stuff that it was able to do with Strands of Fate and Battle Host, I think the D cannon is going to be a little bit too expensive for what it costs. But I could see it being good in the Guardian War Host, where you're able to come back through reserve with a D cannon or something along those lines. I think it's a little bit expensive for Seer Council, but you could make it work as well. It's going to be very dicey. Dark Reapers are up by 5 points per 5. So we knew about that change. I thought they were actually not going to tax the 10-man units, but they did, and probably because of the strength of those units. Same thing with Dire Avengers. They actually got increased to 75 points per 5, 150 for 10. Eldrad got increased to 110 points. I thought this was 120, is what the leak was telling everybody, but no, it's just 110. So he's a little bit cheaper than everyone thought as well. So I think for 110 points, you definitely want to take him in almost every list. And again, I'm a little bit biased because I'm the kind of player who, when I play a game of 40K, I like to be very tactical with the opening turns of the game. And I like to score most of my points, secondary points that is, in the first couple turns. Because later in the game, you might not have the units to do it. So having extra command points early is good. Falcon got decreased to 130. Farseer got decreased. Farseer Skyrunner got decreased both by 10 points. Fire Dragons remain the same. My God, they're going to be good. Fire Prism got increased by 5, which is a shame. Fuegan got increased by 5 to 120. He's still really good, basically auto-include. Guardians got decreased to 100. Hemlock stayed the same because it sucked anyway. Howling Banshees got increased by 5 points per 5 to 90 points. We have Jane Czar. Jane Czar got decreased by 5 points to 105. Lycus stayed the same. Malgan Raw got decreased to 100. The Night Spinner got nerfed because, of course, it was too OP for everybody, so it got nerfed to 190. Ranger stayed the same, of course. Shadow Weaver got increased to 75 because, my God, at 50 points, it was super overpowered. Pretty much everything stayed the same until we get to Storm Guardians, which got decreased to 100. Striking Scorpions stayed the same, which, gosh, they're such a good unit for 75 points. Swooping Hawks got increased by 10 points a unit, which, again, I don't agree with that. I think that was a dumb change to increase them by that much, but there they are. Swooping Hawks, 85 points for 5, 170 for 10. Troop remained exactly the same. Troop Master the same. Vibro Cannon got increased by 10 points for some reason. I mean, I'm going to run it anyway as a meme, so it doesn't matter how many points it is. I have the Viper the Viper at 65 points, or 2 of them for 130, so we knew about that change. Warwalkers remained unchanged. Warlock on foot remains unchanged. Conclave and Skyrunners both unchanged. Warp Spiders did get increased by 10 points, so 95 points and 190 respectively. The Wave Serpent got reduced by 5 points, which is awesome. It was great at 120. It's even better at 115. The Ghostglaive Wraith Knight got increased by 25 points, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but there you go. It got increased. And then the Wraithlord got decreased to 140, which is honestly, in my opinion, one of the best generalist models in the entire Codex. Now, what about the Yunari and the detachment enhancements? I didn't have this in the last video, so let's talk about this. We have nothing changing in the Yunari except for the Reavers, which a 3-man unit got increased to 65 points, which makes sense because the Dark Eldar version is the same. So that's good. My information on the 6-man unit was off. As for the detachment enhancements, Armored Warhost didn't see any changes because why would it? No one's going to take it anyway. Nah, just kidding. It's actually better than it was before, but it's probably not going to hold a candle to these other ones. Aspect Host, we got the Aspect of Murder and Mantle of Wisdom decreasing by 5 points apiece, but they're still insanely expensive. The Shimmer Stone stayed the same, and the Strategic Savant increased by 5 points. Kind of lame, considering that one was obviously the one that probably is the least exciting. Devoted of Yenid, they got a 5-point decrease in Borrowed Vigor. The Gaze of Yenid is minus 15 points to 15 points. Morbid Mind is minus 15 points. And Storm of Whispers is now just the same 10 points. So that's good for the Dark Eldar models because the Dark Eldar enhancements for the Yunari units sucked. So that's cool. Ghosts of the Webway, the Mask of Secrets, went up by 5 points. And that's it. I think that one, I can't remember exactly which one that one is, but that one went up by 5 points. Guardian Battle Host, all of them stayed the same. You're probably not going to take many of them anyway. Seer Council, the one that got cheaper was the Runes of Warding, which is awesome. The Runes of Warding, of course, is one of the best ones, and the Lucid Eye, of course, is pretty good too. And the Torque of Morag Hague got increased. We had the Spirit Conclave, Higher Duty got decreased, Light of Clarity got decreased, Rune of Mists got decreased by a lot. It's only 10 points right now, which is insane. By the way, the Rune of Mists giving cover to something, yeah, most of the time you have cover on stuff, but guess what, guys? It's cool just to have cover on something out in the open, right? So I definitely think that's worth taking for sure on one of your Spirit Seers. Warhost, the Phoenix Gem got increased by 25, but there's no good targets for it now, so it just kind of sucks, in my opinion, the Phoenix Gem now. It's decent, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely one of the weaker ones. And the Wind Rider Host, everything stayed exactly the same. Now, as for our Forge World point values, oh no, guys, what we were fearing happened. We lost all of our Forge World, except for the Phantom Titan and Revenant Titan, and they did not change. So it looks like, basically, everything is as it should be. There was a lot of good changes here, and I agree with most of the changes. I think the changes I don't agree with were the obvious ones, right? Like the, Night Spinner getting increased. My God, why, right? D-Cannon getting increased. It was already not great at 110. It was like borderline good, but it's just a little too expensive for what you got. And yeah, for the most part, I agree with most of the stuff. Not the Wraith Knight with Ghostclave, not quite the Swooping Hawks, but and definitely not the Fire Prism, but most of the, small changes to aspects I do agree with because they are quite a bit better. And that's it. That's the point changes, guys. Take a look at Warhammer Community to, find the exact values, but this looks pretty good to me. And I'm actually really looking forward to getting my hands on the digital copy of the Codex to do a full Codex review at some point. And I'm going to just start out by doing detachment reviews after I've played a couple games with each detachment. I've played a couple in Seer Council. I've played a couple in Aspect Host. I've played one game in War Host. And I've played one game in Spirit Conclave, which is actually really fun at 1,000 points. So I've played a lot of them, just kind of getting used to the rules and stuff like that of the new Codex. It's really a brilliant Codex. A lot of the models feel really good to use. It's really fun and really flavorful. So I'm looking forward to this. Now, one other thing I do want to kind of look into with you guys real quick is the Imperial Armor. They did update it here. We have the Revenant Titan with OC16. So basically, guys, nothing really changed here. Everything is honestly almost the same. But there are a couple differences that I think they are differences, right? So one of the differences I see here is the Sonic Lance. It has Torrent now. I don't know if it had Torrent before, but it now has Torrent. So that's kind of cool. Going down to the Revenant Titan, or excuse me, the Phantom Titan is the big boy. The D-Bombard now has Blast and Dev Wound, so if you wanted to play a 3,000 point game, you could run this, or a 2,500 point game, and you could run this instead of Wraith Knights, but I don't know why you would. It's kind of worse than Wraith Knights. And other than that, it's just basically the same. I think the only difference is it has Flawless Poise, so it's eligible to shoot and declare a charge in the same turn, which it fell back. Maybe it didn't have that before, I don't know. But that's it. That's all there is. Pretty basic stuff here. And yeah, I think really realistically you're not going to use these models, right? But it's cool that they're still in the game. They do have battle focus, however. And guess what, guys? Guess what? They're Wraith constructs, but they have battle focus. So, and they're also monsters as well, which is hilarious to me. So these are actually monsters and not vehicles. Oh my god. Interesting. I don't know if those keywords were the same before, but it's insane that they're that now. So yeah, you can use battle focus with these guys. Although they are Titanic, so they're not going to benefit from everything, but it's still interesting. So yeah, that's going to be it for the review, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the changes. You can definitely still run, we go here to the FAQ, you can definitely still run the Warlock, Conclave Deathstar. You can have a Conclave with a Farseer or with Eldrad. That has not changed. However, you cannot have multiple Conclaves, and it, kind of looks like they're preventing you from also putting a single Warlock in the unit on top of it. I think somebody mentioned that, and I think you are maybe correct on that. But I'd have to double check on that ruling. But yeah, the unit still works and it's still great. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you to all my patrons and supporters who have supported the channel over the last 2.5 years. Your help has greatly improved the channel and helped it grow significantly. If you do want to join the channel and join our Discord, I will leave the Patreon link in the description. You can get it for a free trial. And of course, you'll get permanent access to our Discord as well. Of course, if you want to support the channel, I would appreciate that also. I do also have a channel store page and an Amazon affiliate link. Channel store page is where you can grab some Eldar-inspired apparel to rep your local game store. Things like aspect runes and stuff like that you can pick up at the channel store page. And then if you want to grab some discounted Eldar minis on Amazon, you can use my affiliate link for that as well. And that also helps the channel a bit also. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, everybody. Peace out.